where the hell did this all start? D1 training, and we'll get into what it's become today, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, been around the block for a minute. I was a scrappy 20-year-old when starting my business, didn't know anything, and learned through the school of hard knocks and grit and grind, and I've loved the journey, man. I just love the journey. Soak up a ton from people like you and people that listen to this, and I think I'm a master at iterating and taking.
Where do you think you learned that, the iterating component?
Man, I'm a sports background. I'm a fullback. I wasn't the guy who was like trying to create the play. I was just adding a little bit to it. And
Tennessee, right? Or UT, or I don't know. Would you guys claim yourselves as the real UT, or what's
it actually came out. Tennessee is the real UT. I don't know if you heard, but we're the real UT.
I just heard, so I might need to get a fact checker on that. But yeah, very cool. And then what, you played early 2000s, or you played with Peyton Manning or something? I don't know. Your PR team was trying to give me some interesting tidbits.
No, I'll give you the, it's funny in life. We all have these markers. I think everybody's listening to this podcast. When you think back on your life, you have these markers and you can kind of remember them, and they kind of set you to who you are today and where you're becoming, right? And so my markers are: grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. I blew my knee out in 8th grade. I was told I'd never play sports again. That parlayed into being obsessed with the weight room. I worked my way into becoming a Division I football player, a state champion wrestler, a 3-sport all-state athlete in high school. Went to the University of Tennessee to play with the guy named Peyton Manning. I was his fullback in the late 90s. I was on the national championship team in 1998. Got to serve as the captain of the Tennessee Vols. And then I went to the Denver Broncos after that. I blew my knee out my rookie year, and it was a devastating injury. Ended up having multiple surgeries. And while I was rehabbing, I started this business called D1. I was sitting with my college roommate watching the And One Mix Tour, if you guys can think back to that day. And I go, man, I want to name the gym something cool like the And One Mix Tour. And my roommate was like, why don't you call it D1? And I was like, man, that's so good.
Was D1 like because everyone's like, oh, I want to go D1, especially in basketball. I don't know the lingo and all the other sports, but was that was that still very much a thing of like, D1, like at that time?
It not only was a thing, but it is still the thing today, right? Like my 16-year-old boy wants to go D1. And so, so started the business in 2001, 2004 in the business 01, opened first location 02. I scaled the business through partnering with celebrity athletes, guys like Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, Chris Paul, Tim Tebow.
How'd you, build some of those relationships? Like how do those come about? Because often, I get asked a million times throughout a year, hey, how do I partner with pro athletes? Or how do I get them on our cap table? Or how do I build with them?
Yeah, look, it was organic. They came and trained, but most of the guys knew my mentality and who I was as a player. I didn't have any business acumen then, but they knew I was a hard worker and gritty. And
so
they wanted to partner with me, and I'll never forget
fullbacks are psycho too. So
you guys a little psycho, just a little psycho. Little side story on my first partnership with Peyton Manning. So Peyton was playing at the time, and he sent his money manager to meet with me, and I'm meeting with his team and kind of walking through my plans. And I'll never forget what he said. Money manager goes, "Hey, talk to PM," and he wanted me to tell you this: we're not betting on the horse, we're betting on the jockey. Yeah. And I've always thought of that. It comes in my brain multiple times a week, and so it's like, man, they believed in me, and you got to have people believe in you at a young age. And I had set myself up in that position by being a hard worker in the weight room, being selfless on the football field and just going at it.
And in football, I think a lot of people can understand what a hard worker looks like. But when you go to the business world, what does a hard worker look like in your eyes? Because sometimes it's not always, it's not just lifting or showing up early. It's not as clear cut always.
Yeah, one of our core values at D1 is find a way, make a smart play. It used to be in the fullback days, it was find a way, make a play, just run through the wall a billion times. Really try to be smart. I think what we look for now in franchise owners and in people that work together. It's like, man, we want people that have that massive action mentality. They're going to wake up and get after it every day, no matter what. No matter what. I don't care if you stayed out till 3 a.m. You're getting up and getting after it. I don't care if you're not feeling good or you got family problems. Let's get after it, and then let's get after it in a smart way. Let's follow the numbers. Let's work really hard. Let's work smart, not just work. And the fitness business has some of the most amazing people. I mean, they have some of the hardest workers out there. And it's like, if you can dedicate yourself, and work really hard, you can do a lot.
I agree. And from a business side, you're a hard worker. You come from the football background. You like weightlifting. You see this. How long was that initial location? How do you build that out? And then when does it start to pop in your mind of, okay, like, let's do this way more places and locations?
Yeah, I know my first year. So to give you a little bit of context, a little bit more context, I came from a family. My dad was a West Pointer, Ranger, Vietnam vet, played football at Army, and then he became an attorney. He grew up a big law firm here in Nashville. He was a dude's dude, right? And then I had my mom. My mom was an ordained minister. So it was like I had this interesting background. And so I tell you that because when I jumped into the business, my dad had seen big business at scale. And when I became an entrepreneur, it wasn't cool to be an entrepreneur. It wasn't cool to have your own thing. And a lot of people were doing the career route. And so it was a buck against the common society and in my social circles at the time. And so, man, I just went all in.
You're hiring all of them now, and they're trying to come work for you. It's
something like that. I mean, I think people get enamored with being their own boss, and what people, as people don't realize what it takes. I mean, there's so many nights of perseverance. There's so many decisions I had to make and forego certain things, the comforts of life to push in. And look, it's a little bit my personality, right? Like, just you don't become a wrestler and a fullback if you don't have that. You really enjoy the tough things in life.
I love that. The one quote my grandpa always said is, like, when something's hard, like, do you want to look back in 20 years and look your kid in the eye and say, oh, I didn't do that because it was hard? Like, that would be the most soft statement you could ever say. Like, oh, it was hard, right, so I stopped. So I always keep that in perspective. I think about it daily when shit starts hitting the fan and you're like, I'll future self. But anyway, it's good perspective. And now as you start to gain business sense, you get some athletes to scale it. It seems like you got probably some more capital to scale it. What actually went into that? How did you look at, okay, now here's me and I'm very involved now I got to take a back seat and start to find people that can manage and coach for me?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, so in my 20s, we scaled the business. We did corporate owned locations. And I bought my third building, and I was like, man, I'm not paying a lease. I own the asset. And so I was like, man, I'm going to be Ray Kroc of gyms. This is a real estate play. It's a real estate play. So I started buying up buildings, and man, it was very aggressive as a 20-year-old, early 30s. And I bought 32 different buildings around the country. Built buildings out of the ground. I did it with my partners.
Yes.
And so I have a great business partner, a guy named Dan Murphy, who's been with me. And man, we were.
How'd you two meet?
He's a West Pointer and knew my dad. So he's like, cool. Had that same grit. And so we built 32 of these things, and we lived through 08, 9, 10. We lived through kind of trying to figure out, how to continue to grow the business during that time, through the tough times. And then we launched also a third business. It's just like any good entrepreneur. It's like, man, you have two good businesses. Why not open a third? And so usually not the wise course. We launched a physical therapy business around 2011. And man, it exploded. So all of a sudden I got three different businesses. I got a gym business, a real estate business, a therapy business. And I had some really good advice from a mentor around 2015 and said, man, Will, imagine if you focused on one of these and you went deep instead of wide.
Aperture. That's what my
Yeah,
advisors say. Decrease the
yeah,
aperture.
yeah, that's right. And how much more influence could you have? How much more could you live out? And then how much more profit could you make? Went to bed that night, woke up the next morning. I'm like, man, I'm all in on the gym business. This is what I love. This is how I started. This is what I cut my teeth on. Now you got to remember that's '02 to about 2015, 2016. So that's a 13, 14 year window I just covered. Set on the path of selling off the real estate. I sold my therapy company in 2017. So I had a couple nice exits. And then I got to rethink how I wanted to do D1 as a gym concept and go, man, where are we getting our customer? What's our lead gen look like? What's the ideal franchisee? What's the perfect coach? How do we do, coach compensation? How do we do scheduling? How do we make this thing first class? And, it's amazing how time and perseverance, you gain so much wisdom and you gain so much wisdom. So yeah, we didn't start launching this current version of D1 until at the end of 2017, 2018. So started franchising around that.
Got it. Now, when D1 training, is it you base it still today mainly around college athletes, or like high school athletes trying to play in college, or college athletes, trying to go pro, or where's the sweet spot, or is there many different sweet spots?
Yeah. So purpose it is, kind of our why is to inspire and motivate athletes to reach their goals. So we want to be a place where athletes come in and they get inspired and motivated. You probably had a coach that demeaned and beat you up. We probably all did, right? We all had one of those.
Multiple.
We want to be a place of inspiration and motivation to reach your goal. And the way we do that is, man, we got world-class programs. So we have 8-week cycles. We have world-class coaches. We have first-class facilities, turf, weight rooms that look just like little mini D1 weight rooms all across the country. And then, at the end of the day, what do? We train people. We coach people to their goals. So for us, that's how we do it. We deliver it a couple different ways. We deliver it one-on-one. So you come in, you're like, hey man, I got a goal. My kid needs to train at 3:30 every day. You go to our one-on-one training. We call it D1-on-1. And then we have overtime, which is semi-private, small group training. And then we have large group training as well. Now we also, when we say an athlete, let me just be very clear. It's not just the D1 athlete like you playing basketball, right? We do train those athletes, but it's the everyday person who wants to be an athlete. And we define an athlete as anyone who's got a goal. If you got a goal, like we're not a social club. If you just want an experience and have a social club, there's plenty of other places out there to go work out. We're the place where you come in, you get after it, right? That's why the colors are black and red and gray, and it's aggressive. And so we want people that are coming in there and that are fired up and ready to train and go reach that goal. So we do train adults. We break everybody down in scholastics and adults. Our adults is anybody who's former D1 athletes that want to feel like an athlete again, to my wife who's trying to clear her head from 3 kids, right? And then you have scholastics are the other side. We started as young as 7 years old. So we call them our rookies, 7 to 11 years old. We're going to teach them the basics of strength and conditioning. So we lift on sticks. We teach them, power clean technique and squat technique. And we teach them how to do proper push-ups and proper running form. Our middle school program, which is ages 12 to 14, we call that our developmental. That's when we're going to start weight loading. Same thing. We're going to teach them proper technique, proper running technique. We're going to teach them how to do agility. So it's a little bit more advanced program. And then our prep program, which is our high school program, man, we're prepping you so that if you walk into a college weight room somewhere, you're going to be one of the best in the business. And so we teach you a full D1.
I could have used that. I got my ass kicked the first month going, man, I think I'm playing all right, but I can't even feel my arms and legs because I'm so sore. I've never lifted like this.
Yeah.
It does hit you hard. And just looking at some stats now, 25,000 athletes. I think this is last year.
Yeah.
And then a lot of locations. I'm trying to find the number. 115 maybe with 250 coming or something. Where's
Yeah. So this year we'll finish around 100. We'll have about 150 locations open. So we're currently open in several locations right now. We'll end up training a little over 40,000 athletes on a weekly basis. And man, we have some amazing coaches. Like, the coaches are probably one of my favorite thing that we get to develop. I mean, we'll have over 600 coaches at the end of the year that are pouring into people's lives.
Very cool. And so when you look at the structure of the business, you have, I'm assuming, like a leadership team that sits over all the locations. Now, as you come down, you're finding people that are more investors, owners for gyms, and then you're hiring coaches underneath, or sort of what's the process, or we'll just call it, the A to Z of going from idea, hey, here's a good spot, to, hey, fully training kids every day out of a certain location?
Yeah, so we're a franchise model. And so we have franchise owners, and our process is it takes about 60 days to get awarded a franchise. We have a pretty strenuous vetting process. We award about 4% of people that apply, is the stat from last year. And so we want people to understand what it takes, all the things, and then we do what we call a recruiting day. Similar to like a D1 school, you come in, we do a recruiting day experience. I meet with every franchise owner personally. My team meets with them, and then they get kicked off. And we have everything mapped out for you. So everything from the construction process to how you pre-sale, your lead management system, how you follow up with customers. But at the end of the day, the reason this is a beautiful franchise model is because the service at the facility level, the coaching that has to happen, there's an energy behind it that the owner's got to make sure is happening. And when you have that ownership mentality and you walk in, you're like, man, where's the juice? Where's the music? You want to make sure that owner walks in and goes, yeah, I would come in here and train. I want my kids to come in here and train. We have the best coaches in town. And so that's really served us well is putting the athlete experience at the top. And we this is the question I ask our team every week. How can we serve the athletes better? How can we serve the coaches better? How can we give them, tools so they can, service these athletes better? How can we service our general managers and our owners? And so it comes with that service mindset of going, hey, listen, at the end of the day, to help people reach their goals and to coach people to their goals, you have to have that servant first mindset.
And as you look back and then also look forward a bit, started at 1, you're now, let's just call it 140. You got more. What's the? I mean, again, there's always something over the horizon. We've talked about other doors opening, and
yeah.
Where do you see that North Star at, or do you even see one? You're just so heads down right now.
There's compare building a business very similar to climbing, a mountain, going through a football season or a wrestling season or whatever that might be. It's like, it's really nice sometimes to stop, pick that head up and look at the summit and where you're going. But only for a second. And then we get back down and go back to work, one step at a time. But you do have to peek your head across the horizon and go, where are we going? And, our next, and this might be relevant for the people that are listening out there, of kind of like where we see sports going, where we see kind of youth sports going, this next horizon. So we've kind of built a great infrastructure now to be able to deploy some really cool things because we're at scale. I see this next horizon as us being at kind of the forefront of shaping youth athletics. And what I mean by that is, like, if you think about it, I know we talked about demeaning and negative coaches. Did you have a coach that changed your life?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are. If you ask any person, they would say, yeah, I can remember that one coach.
And not always right in the moment. Like, you start to realize it more and more over time, which is
shapes you down the road. Yeah. And so the cool thing is we got 40-something thousand athletes being shaped right now. And it's like, they're not just being shaped by getting more physically fit. They're having their character shaped. They're becoming more responsible. They're learning perseverance. And then when you think about that coach's voice in your life, when they've been a great servant to you, you're going to listen to them, right? My coach Fulmer, who was my college coach, and Ricky Bowers is my high school coach, they call me, I pick up immediately. They've influenced me. And so I see where we're at is, man, we have a ton of influence, which is a great responsibility. It's a great responsibility. So then now what we're really trying to focus on is going, hey, how do we serve them better? How do we coach people about NIL programs? How do we coach people on, where you go to college and what the college experience is going to be like? Because that's a shifting landscape right now, as you know. How do we coach them on like what to wear, what supplements to take, what not to take, all these different things. And so I see us just in a really good sweet spot of being at the forefront. So that's kind of my long-term vision is I really want D1 to accomplish the mission, which is to be the place for the athlete. So when an athlete walks in, we're the place. You're the place you get all your stuff. You're your place you get your knowledge. You get this, and guess what? You're first. It's always about you, the end user, which is the athlete. And so, man, that's our heart and that's our mindset. The number of locations to me doesn't matter as long as we're doing
athletes.
That.
Yeah. How many athletes you're influencing on a daily basis.
That's right.
And then expanding, like you have the training down, but how can we get the ancillary things around it to become that like true hub of, are your kids, I know you mentioned your one kid 16, where are they at in the journey? Are they like getting some calling? Are they right around that age?
Now you hit a hot button for me. You hit a hot button. I will tell you, one of the fun parts about this life, I've been married to the same woman for 26 years. She's seen the ups and downs, the crazy Will, the, adrenaline junkie Will, the business Will, and so blessed to have her. And we have 3 amazing kids, and we have truly lived this life. My daughter is 22 years old. She's a senior soccer player at the University of Tennessee. Just got into the SEC tournament last night. Big win over Florida.
Let's go.
And so she's living that lifestyle. And then my middle boy plays middle linebacker at Vanderbilt. So we're having a nice little run at Vandy right now. It's fun to see him. And so he's in the thick and throes of it. And, that sports are shaping his life. Coach Lee and that staff there, I mean, he's up at 5:30 every day going in to work out and going and having a full class load. I mean, he's going to come out a sharpened person to go into this world. And then my 6-year-old's a quarterback. Had him down at the Manning Passing Academy this summer. He's doing the whole recruiting thing right now. Threw him for a couple thousand yards as a sophomore, and it's fun, man.
Sure, I don't know causation correlation, but all your kids got to the D1 level. It seems like, at least on the last one, in the business or like the franchising really, it's all around the similar timing. It's like, look, like the formula works. That's pretty cool. Our family had a similar thing, which was, my dad, he coaches the high school team on the basketball team on the side, just for a side note, not to call, I mean, I'm sure you get mad at this, but like a lot of the parents, like they never ask him like, what did you do? Or it's like, why aren't you doing this? And he's like, you could just ask me, like, I have the formula. I know what you need to do. But anyway, very cool. Where can people learn more from any level, looking to franchise, if they're looking to get involved or be an athlete or train themselves? Websites, socials, where do people get the good information?
Yeah, check us out at d1franchise.com, d1franchise.com, and d1sportstraining.com, d1sportstraining.com. And we just feel super, and I meant what I said earlier. There's a proudness, there's a excitement, there's an energy behind everything that's happening, all with this little humble humility and servant mindset. And so, if you're out there, you're interested in youth sports, you're interested in being a part of a company that's growing really fast and impacting a nation and helping people reach their goals, man, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. And share our stories. We got some amazing people that endorse us. Tim Tebow is one of our ambassador partners. He trained at D1, is there all the time. That dude looks he makes me look small. He's
a beast, man.
He's a beast. And, we got Peyton and Chris Paul and all these great guys that just, man, they love to give back. And so that just makes me really proud of that these guys want to endorse a business that I'm building. And be a part of it. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on and sharing. And super cool to hear it, to see it and see the press releases and have your team. I don't know if you have an internal or external PR team. I can't keep them all organized, but it's just cool. I've seen like, it's like, all right, we got to get Will on. We got to touch deeper on this. And it's been really cool, as it always is for me, hearing it from the source, not from text on a website that, is just telling the numbers, not the true inner story.
Congrats to you on all the stuff you're doing, man.
Appreciate
it's
it.
awesome. It's exciting.